I went from top of the world to foreclosure in that house, foreclosure on my house down in Atlantic City, $150,000 in credit card debt, filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I mean, I went from fucking top of the world to bottom within like 12 months. And I had to rebuild everything from the ground up.
Hey everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Pivot to Profit. Today we have Anthony Busciglio. Super excited to have you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. All right, so I'm going to read your bio. It's impressive. Hold on, everybody. Anthony is the founder, CEO, visionary, and integrator of the company. Anthony has experience of driving multiple businesses with expertise in the area of marketing and advertising. Anthony graduated from Ramapo College, which is a funny story, in New Jersey in 2001, and is skilled in sales, management, direct marketing, business development, and digital marketing. Anthony is also involved as the director of marketing, compliance manager, and merchant account manager, and is ultimately responsible for all sales and marketing at apnTech. Man, that's awesome. I'm so excited for this.
Thank
All
you.
right. Perfect. So before we dive in, real quick, listener, if you're a CEO founder and you are overwhelmed by your financials and there's more time in the month than you have money, we'd love to help. Just go to pamjordan.com and my company would love to help you with your finances. All right, Anthony, are you ready? Let's talk
Yep.
money. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. So again, you're an amazing storyteller. So what did you want to be when you grew up,
Ah,
when
so
you
I
were a
didn't,
kid?
yeah. So I was a bad kid when I was in school. I was like the kid that barely got by with the grades. I was the kid that cheated off of his friend's homework. I had like no direction. My parents, my father was an entrepreneur. He was a contractor, construction. He would build new houses and sell them, or fix up some old houses and sell them. He wanted me to go into that business and I can't even hang a fucking picture on the wall. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not a handy guy. I'll never own a house because I can't take care of it. I'm a renter for life. I'm just that guy. So I went to college and with no direction at all. And I majored in economics just because that only required a 2.0 instead of a 2.5 GPA. And I was in college for 7 years. I was like Van Wilder. I was the fraternity guy, the party guy, stealing the tests. We had all the tests in the fraternity and the cabinet. And like, I was totally like just skating through life, like just having the ball, not knowing what the hell I was going to do.
Yeah.
But then I started managing a restaurant while I was in college. I ended up managing it full time. And that was a whole nother New Jersey, like mafia kind of restaurant. And it was just nuts. And it was like this a whole nother story. And I fell in love with the restaurant business. And I was pretty sure that I was going to stay in that business, and I was used to the grind already, 10 a.m., get in early, get ready for lunch, and then close it out at 2 a.m., putting in the 16-hour days, making $800 a week like I was on top of the world.
Yeah.
But I ran the restaurant. So you had this whole like, I run this joint, even though you're not making any money. And then, so I was pretty confident that I was going to open my own restaurant one day, even to the fact that me and my dad and my friend of mine were looking at places to maybe open one. And then back then at that time, I had my parents like, look, you sure you want to do this? This is like holidays, weekends, like this is your life. Like a restaurant business it's tough. You can make a
Yeah.
lot of money, but you're married to this business. It's tough to get away. And then a friend of mine said, hey man, you got a great mouth. I mean, did you ever try selling over the phone? I said, no, I never even thought about it. Like, dude, it's like I got buddies of mine. This is back when I'm 48 and this is back in 2001 when the rates were like 12% and started to just go down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And it was the refi boom for
Oh,
years.
yeah.
So he's like, dude, get into this business. So I was like, you know what? I'll try it. So I took a break from the restaurant business and I went to go be a mortgage broker. And when I started, I walked in this place and I knew a bunch of kids that were there, like guys I used to see down the shore. I was a total Jersey Shore guy, like the fucking TV show. That every summer had a shore house down there. So much worse. It was 10 times worse than what you saw on TV. That doesn't even tell you how bad it really was.
Oh, no.
And yeah, it was so bad. And when I got here, I saw, I got to the mortgage business and these guys were coming in at 9 o'clock, and then at 4 o'clock, they were out for the day, putting in barely the amount of hours, and they were making like 10, 15 grand a month. And I was like, wow, look at this. Meanwhile, I was used to working 16-hour days in the restaurant business. So I was like, you guys are leaving? Where you going? So I
Yeah.
was like, all right, well, I'll just, so I was coming in an hour early every day, 8 a.m. And I was staying 3 hours late every night till 7 p.m. because that's all I knew. I had the work ethic DNA just from the restaurant business for 4 years. And, uh, and I just started winning by outworking everybody.
Yeah.
I was there, or I was putting in an extra 4 hours a day on the phones, extra 20 hours a week. And I quickly found out that I was pretty good at talking and selling over the phone. And within like 3 months, I was like the top producer in the office, running circles around everybody because then all the reps I had from the extra hours putting in, my skills got up really quick, and all of a sudden I was like a great salesman and I had the work ethic. So once I did that, and then the owner took a liking to me, used to give me extra money, extra leads, and eventually, hey, build a team, go find some friends of yours. And I went and recruited a couple of old fraternity brothers from college, couple guys from home, friends of mine who were just doing nothing with their lives. And then I started a team, and then I had a team of 6 guys. I had an override on my team plus my deals, and my team was out producing all the other teams. And then eventually, 2 years later, I ended up starting my mortgage broker shop. So that's, so none of this was like intentional. Everything kind of just happened as it happened. And then
Yeah.
I ended up opening a mortgage broker shop, and I did that for 5 years. And where I really fucked up, which is probably lesson number one here for
I
for
love
for,
it.
for the for the day was, when I had my team in the mortgage broker shop, I was still doing my own deals, my own clients, and then I was helping my team close their deals. Once I opened my shop up and I had like 20, 25 guys working for me, I kind of started just kicking my feet up, you
Mm.
know, and just letting my guys make money for me. That was a big mistake. I could have easily kept I had realtors sending me business. I had a bunch of referrals, and I was just handing off here. I was giving them out to my guys. And that was a big mistake. But the bigger mistake along the way was that I didn't try to learn anything new over those
Mm.
5 years. I just sat back. And this is when like Google AdWords just started to really become big, and pay per click. And this was all brand new. And instead of me learning how to go generate leads, I was the one buying the leads for $50 a piece instead of me learning how to do it on my own. And the mortgage business was evolving with the computer, and I had no computer skills. I could barely even send an email back then. When I first started, it was paper. You had paper leads, and there was one computer in the office that we all shared to put the applications in. And I learned nothing. So then when 2000, and when I didn't, and I also failed to just understand that the refi boom was going to eventually end. And if you didn't have purchase business coming in and have a bunch of realtors giving you business, you were going to die. And in 2008, I learned a hard lesson. I went
Yeah.
down with the collapse of the market. I was living like, I was making 50, 60, 70 grand a
Living
month. I was
large.
partying in New York all the time. I was only 27 years old. I had a condo in Atlantic City just to go partying on the weekends. I was overextended everything with what I was spending. Every dollar that came in was going back out. And then when shit hit the fan and I lost everything, I went from top of the world with the house, with the movie theater, with the pool table and the bar, to foreclosure in that house, foreclosure on my house down in Atlantic City, $150,000 in credit card debt, filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I went from fucking top of the world to bottom within like 12 months, upside down, rock bottom. It was brutal. It was really humbling experience because I just really thought that money was like a faucet, and I knew how to turn it on and turn it off, and like it was never going to stop coming in. I was like, oh, I got it. I'm the golden child. Like I just,
Yeah.
that's it. I won, and I didn't win. So big hard lesson, and I had to rebuild everything from the ground up. And back then there were so many houses in foreclosure during that time that the banks were like years behind. So I was able to like live in my house without paying anything for 3 years, and
Holy
just
cow.
just just pay my gas and electric so I could keep the lights on. And I had to just start all over again from the bottom up.
Yeah.
So
So That's a hard lesson to learn, to go from living large, 27, rolling in it, to nothing. So what next? Where did you turn to keep
Yeah.
money, keep the lights
So
on?
so it was a funny thing that was happening because, back then, like everybody that got into the mortgage business made money because it was
Yeah.
easy, because you were refining people, you were showing them significant savings. It wasn't hard to do it. So like a lot of people were in the business that weren't even that skilled that were making money. So when this whole thing happened, it became this thing where like everybody around me, my parents, my friends, like, hey man, you got lucky, you got into the mortgage business at the right time. So time to get back into the real world, go look for a job. It became like that. Everybody, and I refused. I'm not doing that, dude. I'm going to fucking figure this out. And so then I dipped my toes into MLM stuff for a while. I fell for that. I fell for that dream of lifelong residual income, and oh,
Yeah.
you build your downline, you can make 50 grand a month forever. And so I did that for like 2 years. I made a little bit of money, nothing significant. Um, and meanwhile, during this time, I still had my huge house, and I took like all my desks from my mortgage office and put them in my house. I had like 10 desks in my house, and I had people coming in and out of my house all day. And I'm just like talking and trying to figure out another model. What can we do? And like my wife's losing her mind. I got people coming in and out of the house. I got desks all over the fucking house. It got to the point where money was so bad that my partner now, Kevin, who we partnered up with back then, we actually were going to fucking churches and and grabbing books and selling them on Amazon to make a couple of dollars every month. So now I had a basement full of desks and boxes of books everywhere from the fucking church. My wife's like, what are we
What are you
doing here?
doing?
What the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out. So then I ended up joining this because I knew somebody that was doing this business. It wasn't an MLM. It was like a top tier direct sales from home where you sold these big event packages for 2K, 10K, or 20K over the phone to people who wanted to learn how to make money from home.
Okay.
And but the great part about this business was they taught you how to generate leads online instead of cold calling. So for about a year and a half, I learned about every which way to generate and market leads online, from Google AdWords to pay per click. Facebook just started back then. Any which way you could, doing blog posts, SEO, websites, landing pages, click funnels, testing. I learned everything. And I was a guy who like could barely send an email. And then within 2 years, I became a pretty good marketer and been able to generate my leads online. So with that business, started doing pretty good. I built a little team. We were selling these 10K, 20K packages over the phone from home. And we did that. And then we ended up being like my team, be like top producers in this company. And I was making like 10, 12 grand a month, which, coming off of 50 a month wasn't that,
But
but
it
that
pays the
was
bills.
it was great to, and I thought I had a big future with this company. And then they made a couple mistakes, a couple bad decisions, and then
Mm.
they fell, they went belly up too. So I'm like, okay, now we're starting again. But I wasn't in that as bad of a position as that first time. So me and now I was like, okay, look, you know, I learned how to generate leads online. I know how to build Salesforce when I had a big floor with the mortgage broker shop. Let's, me and my partner Kevin, let's put together something. What can we sell over the phone that's somehow related to the internet? How do we bring that together and build a floor? I could easily build a sales floor.
Yeah.
So like, let's just fucking figure something out. So we're trying to find things we could sell, and we're looking at all these different campaigns you could do, and student loans, and auto warranties, and selling business loans or credit card or processing. And my business partner and I remember we were at my house, and this is when Google Maps first came out. Okay.
Okay.
So what Google did was back in maybe 2010, it was, they just gave every business owner a listing. Like you didn't even know about it. Like if you owned Pam's plumbing shop, all of a sudden one day you had a Pam's plumbing shop Google listing. And it just had your name and like maybe an address, and that's it, right? And they
Yeah.
just gave her, and then it said claim this listing. So you, as the business owner, you would have to click claim this listing. This is me.
Prove
This
it
is my
was
business.
you. Yeah.
This is you. Prove it. These are my services. This is my phone number. Here's my hours. Here's my pictures. And you had to go claim your listing. Well, business owners had no idea that this was even there. So me and my partner were like, yo, this is crazy. There's a line. I'm looking. There's got to be millions of these listings, and business owners probably don't even know about it. So me and my partner, Kevin, just made a little script, and we started literally cold calling for people on Google Maps. Hey, how you doing, sir? My name is Anthony. Did you know you have a Google Maps listing that's like, what are you talking about? Well, it's a free website that Google gave to you. You need to claim it, optimize it, put your services in, your pictures, and no one's going to find you. If you want, I could do it for you for $99. It's like, yeah, sure, do it for me. I'm like, okay. So we did it. I'm like, wow. And then now we're calling and we're making like 3-4 sales a day each. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, there's millions of these things out there, man. We could build a business around this. So that's what we did. So had no money, had to borrow some money from somebody. It's a whole nother long story how that happened. But I ended up, this is actually what happened. This is actually, you'll actually like this story. I actually have to tell this part of it. So I was like, all right,
Okay.
we got something good here. We could build a business around here. There's unlimited amount of businesses that we could target here. There's probably 10 million businesses at least on here that have unclaimed listings. We could do this for years, but where do we get the money to put together an office? So a friend of mine who I just knew always, this is a staple thing, like never burn any bridge and
Yeah.
always work on building relationships because you'll never know when they come in time of need, and I've always been that guy. I've always kept all my relationships, never no bad blood with nobody. Even if someone screwed me over, made good on it, forgave, move forward, because those people
Yeah.
come back around too. So this one guy, he used to stop by my house every now. Hey, what are you guys up to? And I was showing him the Google thing that we're doing with the maps. And one day he comes by, he goes, hey man, he's like, I might have something for you. He goes, I have a buddy of mine. He's like, would you come meet me in New York City tomorrow, whatever? I meet my buddy Mike in the Empire State Building in the restaurant downstairs. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I've never even been to the Empire State Building. Okay, so we go to the Empire State Building. And he introduced me to his friend Mike. He's like, hey, my name's Mike, whatever. So what do you got going on with this Google thing? Brian was telling me about it. I'm explaining to him there's 10 million of them, blah, blah, blah. He goes, look, man, he's like, I have a company called the Tax Club. He goes, what I do is I provide accounting services to business owners. He's like, and I'm wondering if you sold, because you're doing all businesses, if you sold your businesses, these Google Maps optimization that you're doing, and then you pass the lead over to me, do you think that my guys could sell them my accounting services? I'm like, we could try. I'm like, but I'm trying to put something together. I don't have money for an office. Like, I tell you what, I have the whole 64th floor of the Empire State Building. I have 100 employees up there. I have a room that we're not using with 12 feet that could fit 12 people. How about I give you that room? I don't charge you any rent. You use my phones, my computers. It won't cost you $1. All I ask is that after every sale you make, you transfer them over to my team and we try to sell them my accounting services. I go, done, deal. When can we
Yeah.
start? He goes, you can start tomorrow if you want. I'm like, let's go. So on Monday morning, fly into New York. Here we are now in the 64th floor of the Empire State Building, right? It was nuts. The guy had an $80 million operation running in there. And I was like, oh my God, look at this. Like there was like 100 really talented sales guys all selling over the phone. Like, this is amazing. So he gave us this little room to get started, and we started. And then we started hiring people. But I think the biggest thing of that whole experience was that I was able to be in the belly of the beast and witness how an $80 million operations runs, from how they work the lead, how it went to the appointment setters, how they set the appointments for 1 week at a time for these guys, what packages they sold in each, because it was like huge floor with different departments. They all sold different shit. They sold SEO, they sold website. It wasn't just accounting. It was a whole
Everything.
conglomerate, everything. So I was there for 3 months building my business. We had 12 guys in this little room, passing them the leads over, but they couldn't sell anything to these business owners
Oh no.
because what I found out was that they were focused on biz op people, right? They had never sold real business owners, contractors, plumbers. So these guys didn't want to buy. So I was there for 3 months, and then one day he goes, "Hey man, I got to talk to you." He goes, "Look, dude, you leads, we're not selling any of them. He's like, you're literally incubating your whole company here inside my company.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, and I appreciate that. I was like, yeah, and I appreciate it if you fucking left now. So I was like, look, thank you for everything you did for me. I sorry it didn't work out. I appreciate it. And then took my guys, opened up our own office, and then we got started. And then I had about a 6 year run there, got to 100 employees doing
Awesome.
that, and figured out some other sales and upsells and reoccurring revenue. And that was my lucky thing that happened to me.
Did you exit from that business?
No, so more more stuff that happened. So back then, and I learned this from Nick Long, a
Yeah.
mutual friend of ours, right? Um, so back then, business to business robocalling was allowed. Okay.
Yes.
That was completely compliant. There was nothing wrong with it. So that's what we were doing, right? For years, we turned on the auto dialer. It would call people up and the business owner would answer the phone and said, hey, your Google listing is not claimed to verify. Press one now to claim your listing. Calls would come in all day long and we'd sell them. All of a sudden, one day, out of nowhere, this law just came out. Hey, as effective today, robocall is illegal. If you get caught, up to $1,500 fine per robocall. I'm like, okay, we do about 200,000 robocalls a day. I'm like, times 1,500. I'm like, yeah, we're
We're
in big
done.
trouble here. We're done.
Yeah.
So, big mistake number two. So I'm like, we can't do this no more. And even Google's attorney sent us a letter in the mail. Say, hey, we're aware you've been doing this. It's now outlawed. If we find out you're doing this, we're going to sue you. Google's attorney. I'm like,
Nope.
all right, we're done. I'm like, we shut that off. I'm like, what do we do? I'm like, well, we got plenty of money coming in. We had 400,000 a month of reoccurring revenue coming in. We were pretty healthy financially. Like, look, I know how to generate leads online. Let's just generate them all online, which is 100 times more expensive than doing the robocalling. Robocalling cost per acquisition was like $20 a deal.
Yeah.
You go into the world of generating your own leads. Now you're into hundreds of dollars per deal. But little too cocky back then. We'll figure this out, no problem. And I tried to pivot the entire company from robocalls to leads right away.
Too
I
much.
hired like I hired like the best marketing guy I could find out of Wisconsin, flew out there to sit with him for 3 days. He was like 20 grand a month just retainer for this guy. And we went from spending, 3 grand a day on robocalls to like 20 grand a day generating leads. And within 6 months, we blew through a few $1 million. We were going backwards. Our reoccurring revenue was dropping. My sales guys never worked real leads before. They were used to just grabbing the phone. And we did that for like 18 months, blew through
Mm.
so much money. And I was like, hey, dude, if we keep doing this, we're going to blow. Now, we still have a good amount of money coming in on reoccurring revenue. I'm like, but if we keep doing this, we're going to blow through all that and be stuck with nothing. Let's take a time out.
Yeah.
So we pretty much shut down almost the whole company except for maybe like 10 customer service people to handle our existing clients. And we just stopped it. And we had a couple 100 grand a month still coming in with reoccurring revenue. Let's take a little break. And we did some other stuff for like 2 years, some drop shipping stuff, some Amazon third party seller stuff. And we were trying to build that up and the margins were just so thin and Amazon keep raising their fees with FBA and blah, blah, blah. And then, eventually, I'm like, look, man, I want to get back in the game. Let's do it the right way, though. Let's do it compliantly. Let's generate leads from day one. Let's start with one guy, then two. We have to build this. We can't go big right away. That
Yeah.
shit doesn't work. We got to do this the right way, and we did. And we started APN. It was called Approved Providers Network, and now we changed it to apnTech. And we started doing literally one guy generating 5 leads a day, and then a second guy and a third guy, and now we're 6 years in. We did about $20 million last year in revenue.
Congrats.
We have, thank you. We have 70 people here in Orange, California. We have an office in Jersey with 10 people there. We have a small tech team in Tampa with 5 people there. And we've been on a 6 year run here with this company. So that's kind of been my journey of entrepreneurship the past. And there's a lot of other crazy shit in between, but that gives you a good summary.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you sharing the lessons learned. Because that really helps people to understand. Like you can't just put your head down. Like you got to keep learning and you got to see what's coming down the pike because the rug can literally get pulled out from under you in
It
a
happens
day.
all the
And
time.
And it's happened to you a couple times in industries. So that's
It's like
crazy.
how David Goggins has this great saying. He's like, "Hey man, just when you think you're comfortable and you're just cruising down the street and everything's good, he's like, don't get it twisted. There's a semi truck right around the corner ready to take you out. So
Yeah.
you got to have a little bit of paranoia, not operate out of fear and be paranoid, but you got to stay on your toes because anything could happen. COVID, for example, who the fuck saw that coming? Something like that could happen.
Yeah.
So are you set up for that? Do you have income coming in, or you like are you ready to handle shit like that? You just don't know, you know. So thank God.
Yes. So in the business now, um, what is your role? Your marketing, your sales? Are you part of the operations? What role do you play in it?
Yeah, great question. So me and my partner Kevin, we're complete opposites, and that's why the marriage works so great. I'm visionary. I'm the talker. I'm the leader guy. I'm the morning meeting guy. I'm the relationship guy. I'm the visionary. If we're going to use EOS terms, I'm the
Yep.
visionary. He's the integrator. So he's systems, processes, super smart guy. CRM, tech, all that shit, distributions, and so because we have such opposite skill sets, it works really good. I am heavily involved with the marketing though. So I have this guy. You might even know Stefano. I don't know if you
Yeah.
met Stefano before. You know Stefano, right? So Stefano's been my right hand guy. He's awesome. So me and him work together on the marketing. We're very precise with how many leads we have to generate per day per guy. And so me and him work on the marketing together. So that's a big because we spend couple hundred grand a month on marketing. So it's a big cost for us, and it's got to be efficient. Otherwise, we'll lose money.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm the relationship guy, and I'm the one who keeps the people around. And because if that was Kevin, they'd all quit. So Kevin's the systems and operations guy. Kevin's in Tampa with the tech team, and he works with the developers. Or we have a team of overseas of developers too. And I'm over here in Orange, California, and I'll go back to Jersey every other month and spend a week in the Jersey office too.
Got you. Okay. So how now, as the visionary, how have you changed your mindset about money and managing the data? Because it sounds like you've got the data on lock on the sales side, but what about for a $20 million company? You're not playing. Like, how do you manage the
Yeah,
numbers of your business?
yeah, great question. So back with our previous business, which was it was called Loyal Nine Marketing. When that thing closed down because of the whole regulations of the new, the FCC and FTC, whatever, with the calls, I had a third partner back then too. Big lesson here for every, probably the biggest lesson right here. Trusted guy, fraternity brother, okay, and never treated finances seriously. We didn't back then. We kind of operated. Money came in, we took our checks, like operated very immaturely as business owners back then, probably like most people do when starting out. And we had like 10 merchant accounts back then, and we had like 15 different credit cards, and there was money all over the place coming in. So we never did finance meetings. Didn't, all we had was an accountant that did our taxes once a year. No P&Ls, no income statements, no balance sheet, no nothing. And so what happens? Best friend from college, right? Trusted guy. So every now and then, I was like, "Hey man, what's going on with the money in the bank? Like, hey, could we do a meeting? Yeah, wait till tomorrow. I'll put something together." And he put together this bullshit Excel doc. Hey, here's what's going on. And then one day something happened. I think my partner kept like, "Hey man, I think we should do a finance meeting, but let's not give a heads up. Let's just start logging in everything like right in front of us." I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. So like, hey, we're gonna do a meeting right now. Right now, yeah, right now. Come upstairs. And we logged into like the American Express account because we spent a lot of money in there. And we saw like, a furniture purchase on there. I'm like, yo, like Bob's stores. We didn't buy nothing from Bob's stores. And my ex partner, I'm not going to say the name, was like, "Oh, my wife must have put it on the wrong credit card. Let me look into that." I go, "Wrong credit card." Then I see like Louis Vuitton 3,000. Like, yeah, what the fuck is that, bro?
Mm.
And he's like, "Oh man, I don't know. I got to call my wife." I'm like, "Yo." I'm like, "What is going on here, bro?" And I saw like his lips started to tremble a little bit, and my stomach started turning. I'm like, "Yo, why don't you go home?" He went home. I was like, "Dude, I'm my stomach's turning. I don't know what we're gonna find out right now." We started logging in everything, money
Bad.
missing, cash, literal cash withdrawals right from our business bank accounts, things on the credit card like you wouldn't believe, purses, Dior, Prada shoes, like ended up being about $300,000 between cash and personal charges that he embezzled from the company. Trusted fraternity brother from college, one of my best friends. I
And
was like,
robbing
wow.
you blind because you weren't looking at the numbers.
That's right. So that became a whole thing. It was horrible thing. His kids and my kids hung out. Like I couldn't even believe this was happening, and ended up being he was using some substance at that time. And I knew about it, but didn't know he was fucking stealing. And another big learning lesson here is that trust but verify, but also be smart with the finances. So after we got through all that, and we somehow got a lot of that money back and got rid of him and all that. When we started this new business, we hired a controller right off the bat,
Yes.
and she's amazing. And by the way, she's only a fractional,
Yep.
so now she's pretty much 80% working on our. In the beginning, we didn't need her for that much because we were just starting out. Now we do a finance meeting every single Tuesday for 6 years now. We go through the accounts payable, what's getting paid this week, how much cash came in, how much cash came out, credit card balances, what has to get paid, exactly what's in every account. We have 12-month forecasting all the time, budgeting. We review, we adjust the forecast every single quarter. We do a monthly review of the previous month every month and go through the P&L and see what our losses and our gains were. We do bi-monthly meetings with our accounting firm, try to forecast what we could do to try to save on taxes and be proactive. We went from like the worst business owners financially ever to being like knowing where every single fucking penny is at all times. And there's honestly no other way to do it,
Amen.
and that's where a lot of people think they're making money when they're not even making money because they don't even really know what's going on. Like the Amazon business I was telling you about, like, we did like $3 million in revenue one year selling, these drop shipping, these boxes. And then at the end of the year, it's like, yeah, by the way, you guys made $22,000. I'm like, out of 3 million? Like what? Because we just didn't know. You don't know unless you're in there and you're looking at the P and L and you're analyzing, and you have to have somebody good on your team to do that. So now it's like we know everything to the penny. There's not one financial error, and no one. And that's just never going to happen again.
Yeah, I love it. So, what's advice that you would give to an entrepreneur who's making money and have things going on? What money advice would you give to them?
Um, what money advice? Um, I mean, are you talking about like personal financial money advice or
Or
just
like
business?
business, yeah, business money advice from your lessons learned.
Yeah, tricky question. One thing I've never done is raise capital. I've always done this bootstrap. We started this business with $1,000, and now we're at $20 million. I did get lucky with the COVID loans, though. I took advantage of every ERC tax credit, COVID disaster loans. I made sure I grabbed everything they were throwing at us with those low rates. That was huge. Here's a big one. So we've really learned how to manage cash flow over the years, right? And here's the one thing, and I know probably some vendors wouldn't appreciate this, but you know, vendors, you don't get charged interest, when you're paying vendors, right? Now, when you're paying credit cards, you get paid interest, so you got to pay them on time. When it comes to vendors, I push my limits when it comes to the net 30, net 60, net 90, because I know I could get away with it. And I know they need the money. They need, we're a good client for them. So I push the envelope when it comes to vendors. And I push it. I'm like, oh, come on, please give me, man, no problem. So it's helped with cash flow by be able to just utilize knowing that we're not going to pay anything more by paying those vendors a little bit later. I always try to negotiate net 60 or net 90-day stuff and what I do to give us that runway.
Yeah.
And then I try to see if I can use a credit card on top of that. So get net 60, then use a credit card, buys you 30. You're getting all the credit card points too. And if you pay your credit card every month, you're not paying any fees on top of that anyway. So I try to utilize our credit cards as much as possible to give us that 30-day cash flow. And I try to negotiate with vendors and try to get the best net terms I can to delay that stuff even further. And that's helped a lot in the past couple of years. I think also being, financially responsible and not treating the business as an ATM as well. So what we do is that we put ourselves on salary here. So we have a salary, me and Kevin, and then we take distributions based on what our income statement shows every month, and if we didn't have a great month profit wise, then we'll push back on our own distributions and try to be responsible and not try to, because God forbid you go into a 3-4 month rut and you're losing money for some reason, then you're going to be pissed that you took out that extra whatever out of the bank, out of the
Yeah,
business bank account,
got
you
you.
know.
In all of your ups and downs, what was some money advice that you received that stuck with you?
I had this uh I had this coach. I've done a lot of coaching over the past 5 years. A lot of people that we pay money to, consultants to coach us and level us up. But I had this coach a long time ago. His name was Jeffrey Combs. And this is back like with that whole MLM at that time. And he's like, hey man, he's like, you got to go read this book called Money Drunk because you're money drunk. And I was like, what are you talking about? Money drunk. He's like, because you just think that money is so easy to come by with the way I'll figure it out. I'll do an MLM and I'll just start making 100 grand a month. He's like, you're living in a false reality of how the world really works. And he made me read this book called Money Drunk. I forgot who the author is. I'm sure not many people have a book named Money Drunk anyway.
Yeah.
But I read this book and it completely changed my whole perspective of finances and money and how my relationship with money was. I was so delusional about thinking that it was a faucet and it wasn't. And I think that was a really good book for me to read. If anybody wants to read a finance book, that was a good one.
Okay, awesome. So, what's next for you at this stage in life, Anthony? You've got a business, it's growing, strong team, 3 locations. What's next?
An exit's always something that we always talk about. In my business, I'm a high volume, low ticket guy. We don't sell 10, 20K packages. Our packages are like $400 up to like $2,000, and we have a 199 a month reoccurring revenue. I'm a high volume guy. We like the low ticket, high volume. And the goal for us is to get our churn rate down to at least 4% monthly. Right now, we're more like 6 or 7, way out of range for someone to want to acquire you. And with B2B, it's tough to get the churn down. So, the goal is to get the churn down to 4%, double the amount of subscriptions we have, and then start shopping around and see if we have interest. I know that with a $2-3 million EBITDA and having a good amount of reoccurring revenue with a churn rate around 4%, we should get an offer of a pretty good multiple,
Yeah.
hopefully of revenue. In 3 to 4 years, I would love to exit. And if I can't, I'm making great money. I love running this business. I love the whole, we have like a little mini Wolf of Wall Street thing going here. They
Yeah.
they make a sell, they sell, they ring the bell. We do these awesome team events. We do spiffs every day, 3 deals, $30. I buy lunch for here and this and that. And we make it real fun. We have music on. We have a high energy. We do the whole morning meeting every morning, 7 a.m. Big meeting in front of the office. Pump them up for the day.
Yeah.
So I like doing it. So if I end up just doing this until I retire, I'm happy. I'm making great money, but I would love to exit. I would love to exit.
Okay. I love it. I love it. All right. So I've got some rapid questions for you. So no story behind it, just the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. You ready?
Okay.
All
Mhm.
right. Profit or growth?
Profit.
What's one business expense you'll never cut no matter what?
Um, my personal trainer. That shouldn't even be a business expense.
It sounds like that needs to be on your accountable plan. Just for tax purposes, by the way, put it on the accountable plan. What's the best money advice you've ever received?
Best money advice I ever received. I wish I would have done this, but invest early and invest often.
All right. If you had to start all over today, what's the one thing that you do differently with your business finances?
I think what I said earlier was people think that, oh, I don't need a finance person yet until I get bigger. I don't need it to do I don't need to do, audit the books or do P&L. So we're just starting out. I think you do that from day one.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm
And
sure
final
I'm sure you agree with that.
110%. Yes, my friend. All right,
Yeah.
final question. What does financial freedom mean to Anthony?
Financial freedom to me, if I had to put a number on it, these days with inflation and where it's going, I think that if you want to live a comfortable life and not have to work, I think you really got to have 10 put away.
Just fun financial number. 10 put away, 10 million put away is 400,000 at 4% interest is 400,000 a
A
year.
month, a
A
year
year.
just coming in. Yeah, just coming in. I think
Yeah.
that's the number. I
And you
think
don't
that's
have
the
to touch the
number is
principal.
the, and you don't touch the principal. Yeah. I mean, otherwise, yeah. I mean, I would, but yeah. Yeah.
I
I would
got
say
you.
10. 10's always the number. I would love 20, but I think 10's the number.
Okay. I love it. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for sharing your crazy stories with us and the lessons you've learned along the way. Where can people connect with you?
My Instagram's Anthony.Busciglio, Anthony.Busciglio. You can shoot me a DM anytime. I'm pretty active on there.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing. I love sharing these profit stories. Anyone
Thank
that's
you.
listening, please follow Anthony on social media. His videos are packed full of crazy stories and lessons learned. And if you need help with your business financials, just go to pamjordan.com.